Well, good morning, everyone. And every day we rise is a great day to be alive. And welcome to Portsmouth Coffee Talks morning show. And I'm Slim Overton, and I'm here with host, moderator, Thomas the Colonel Chapman. And we have co host Leah Stitt. Hopefully, she'll join us soon. She was having some connection problems. But we have a guest host with us, and they are no strangers to Portsmouth Coffee Talk. We have Lynnette Richardson and a guest host, Louis Bracy. And we're going to get into a little bit of what do we do at January 21st? Do we check out or check in? Well, what do Black people do during this administration? So, Colonel, let's go.
Well, good morning, everybody, and good morning, and glad y'all are here. And I say on January 20th at 12 o'clock, when the mob boss takes the oath of office for the second time, and this be the only second time in his history that he's ever read the oath of office with an oath that we swear oath to the Constitution, the support and defend the Constitution against foreign and domestic. This will be the first time in our history that our real enemy and our real threats are from within rather from without. So I'll start my monologue from there. And for those out there in Electron Land, you can think about what I just said. Our main enemies are within than from without. So in 42 days at 12 o'clock on January 20th, the lights of freedom in America, and as Ronald Reagan says, on the a city on the shining hill, those lights go off. And our democracy changes forever. Because one, as Slim says, what do Black folks do when we have a clanner sitting at the office, or basically a mob boss sitting at the top of the office? Well, for those who sat home and didn't vote, you deserve everything you're going to get. Those of y'all folks that voted for him, that fell for the trap, for the con, you deserve everything you're going to get. And then for us, real patriots out here, people that believe in democracy, we need to hunker down. For the next 4 years, watch your checkbook, watch where you vote. You need to go out and vote again next time you have a chance. And up and down the ballots, vote for people that share the same values that you have. And those values do not exist in the Republican Party as they exist. So you have to vote Democrat up and down. The other thing, too, let your checkbook and your money speak for you. Personally, you will never see me at an Hispanic or a Mexican restaurant, because the majority of them voted for Mr. Trump, thinking that now he's going to do all this stuff for Mr. Macho Man is going to get the criminals out. But now they're even fearing for grandma and their mothers that came over here illegally. They came and were born here as a dreamer. As you looked at over the news, saying he wants to deport you, he's not going to separate families, but he's going to deport the whole family unit. What does that mean? A family unit meaning American citizens. Mm-hmm. So I don't break up a family. I'm going to put all of y'all in a cage.
Yeah.
All of y'all.
Grandma, hey, Colonel, that's funny. He would say that straight to our face, that the best way to deport, to keep families from breaking up families is to send everybody home.
Yeah, put everybody in that same cage.
Whether you legal or illegal, because in some of those families, some of those people are illegal, and some of them, well, I'm not going to say illegal, but undocumented or haven't completed their citizenship, and some of them are. So he's talking about, we're not going to break up the families, legal or not, or undocumented. Send everybody home.
Yeah.
And he looked right into the camera and said that.
Yes. And then so if you came over and your parents brought you over, or either you were born here and so you have citizenship by United States Constitution for birthright citizenship, doesn't believe in that. So I'm going to keep your family together. I'm going to round up all of y'all. And before you think that the ACLU, that most people don't donate to, is going to come in there with a lawsuit to do that, they're going to round you up, put you in the cage, and kick you out even before you get to the court. So you won't have any rights to do anything. And so people need to make sure you have your papers. Lewis, you look like you some Spanish descent or some African descent. You sure you over here?
No, I'm illegal as hell. Come get me.
Yeah. So, actually, I did I'm renewing my actually I got to drop it off today. Make sure I get my passport together.
I want them to come knock on my door.
Oh, they don't want to knock on my door. I'm the last one they want to do.
Yo, let them come knock on my door. That's all they got to do. Knock on my door. And I'm gonna invite you in, and you step 1 foot in, and then I fear for my life.
Mm-hmm. So I was reminded yesterday, before I turn it over, I want Lynnette to have a shot here, is the people on the other side, especially our white brethren and sisters, talk about all these guns that they got and all these shooting lessons. My response, and I got this from somebody else, and now I'm starting to believe it. How come y'all can't shoot straight? And I'll let that happen. I'll let that soothe in, smother in like a crock pot. So Lynnette, what say you?
That is funny. Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
And when I got this text from Slim, I told my mind was all over the place. You know, check out or check in. I got one or two things, and hopefully we can expand on it. But I just, I think as African Americans, we are pigeonholed a lot. We are not monolithic. We are different. We have different views. We have different backgrounds, different views on money, different views on everything. But a lot of times we get pigeonholed, and we have to start this conversation. I appreciate the invitation to talk, especially to our younger generations, because it's a lot of misinformation out there. And I found that out talking to our younger generations, Generation Z, about the election. And I was kind of taken aback by some of their reasons for, number one, not voting, and number two, why they were not going to vote for Vice President Harris. So check out, I'm with you, Colonel. We got to check out our debt.
Yeah.
We in debt to the wazoo. Mm-hmm. We don't have any wiggle room. And along with that is financial literacy, because that generation, the millennials, they are predicted to be the richest generation in the history of the United States because of the transfer of wealth. But I'm not sure they have the financial literacy to make sure that Generation Z is going to be able to continue it, because statistically, the trillions of dollars that we are going to transfer, baby boomers, I'm gonna date myself, I'm a baby boomer, to Generation X. I have kids in Generation X, but I also have grandkids. It's millennials and Generation Z. But if that Generation X under us does not kind of bone up on financial literacy, Generation Z is not going to have that. So I'm going to say check out of debt. We need financial literacy, because just going to the store now, they talk about inflation. It is creeping. It has crept up. Everything that I purchase now is more expensive, down to Chick-fil-A. Can't get no kids meal now for under $7 or $8. And then check in. We got to educate, mentor, and life coach. When I was raising my kids, my husband and I, we were a 2-parent home, but I couldn't do it by myself because I was working and I was in school. So they had mentors when they were young. those mentors are their life coaches now. And I have a son that just made colonel in the Army, and that life coach is still his life coach. We got to be intentional now. It's the next 4 years, and who knows after that 4 years, we got to put the pedal to the metal and be intentional with checking in with education, mentoring, and life coaching. That's my 2-cent worth so far.
Well, you know what? You said a lot. You said a lot there. And I'll boil a few things down. When we talk about these young folks talk about inflation, and they also summarize, they also put that in with the economy. And we have listened for 4 years. Soon as the Democrats got in office, or President Joe Biden got in office with Kamala Harris as the vice president, they inherited the worst economy since except for the Depression, because the whole country was closed down. We were losing 5,000 people a day because of COVID. And because, there were no businesses, nothing was running correctly. Well, you talk about inflation because of some of the moves that they did, and you have the global pandemic trying to turn off, trying to solve those problems. It was a global issues of inflation. So now you have this crime boss that comes in and says, well, now that I've gotten back in office or in doing, let me rewind that. So over 4 years, you look at state-run TV or Fox and all right-wing social media platforms say how bad the economy is. But as soon as they got Trump stole this last election, and I say stole it because the numbers don't add up. They're saying how great the economy is now, how good it is, and it's good now, but it'll be great after I get my tax cuts.
Right. Because the last tax cut that Trump did, it was not good for the middle class. It was horrible. Okay, horrible. So that it was horrible. It was horrible. Yeah. But what happened when Obama was in? They took their money away from the economy. Yeah. But we stood still. That was our time to move. And I don't think we made the move that we should have during the Obama years. Okay. That financial literacy is so important. I mean, even just basic. My dad worked in the shipyard, but he taught us how to save. It was from the piggy bank, from the big Coca-Cola jars. It was one in every room of our house. Every time my dad would come home, I would see him empty his pockets and put in those containers. And I remember when I first went to work at Chesapeake General Hospital years ago, it was nothing on Battlefield Boulevard but that one Hardee's and a lot of trees. And my dad said, "Where you going to work?" And I said, "Chesapeake General." He said, "I'm going to tell you, if you go past that hospital about 3 miles, that's where the Ku Klux Klan is. Don't go past that hospital when you drive. But every time you go to work, Lynnette, put $1 in your ashtray and $1 when you leave." He said they drank coffee. See, you don't know about that. You drink sodas. So you're going to go there and you're going to spend 50 cents a day buying 2 sodas a day when they drinking free coffee. You put that $2 in your ashtray. And when I retired, if I had continued to do what my daddy told me, it was a lesson, but it was a lesson that I taught my kids too, about saving and investing. You cannot complain about what's going on Wall Street or an investment unless you get in the game. It's a game. It's a game. It's not meant for the people on the side because they trade when we sleep. But you can learn the basics of how money works. The rule of 72, exponential growth. And we got to teach that to this Generation Z and under. I teach it to our 5-year-olds, our kindergarten ones at our school. The value of money and what is that dollar going to be in 7 years? They get it. We just got to teach them.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the check out and the check in. You've been hitting it, and the Colonel hit it. But y'all know I come from a more ballistic way of thinking, and the thing with our young people that everyone keep mentioning is that we need to just take them and just slap them upside the head 5 or 6 or 7 times, because they're just not listening. They think they know what they're talking about, but they don't know what they're talking about, because they are not invested, as you said, in the things that they claim they're concerned about. Mm-hmm. Now, if you have an iPhone, are you invested in an iPhone, for example? Mm-hmm. And every time I talk to some of the young people who have these iPhones, they talk so much about them. I say, are you invested in it? No.
Right.
And so, it's like, I need to go back to a story for people to understand something. And to this day, I always tell people I did not like the way my mother did certain things to keep me in school. I used to have to walk past James Overton's house to go to Douglas Park Elementary School during the summertime, because my mother kept me in school in summer. I was always in summer school. But to this day, I got to give her the credit, because she knew what I needed. And we are hard-headed. Boys are hard-headed. Sometimes you got to slap us upside the head more than 3 or 4 times to make us wake up. And that's what we need to do to our people. We need to sit them down, slap them upside the head a couple of 100 times if needed, and say, look, we got to wake up. And when you mentioned the thing that you mentioned about the economics, I just want to hit 2 things. One, George Bush, too, when he turned the economy over to Barack Obama, he admitted he turned the economy over to President Obama all messed up. He admitted it. President Obama fixed the economy. Republicans did not fix the economy. Okay. Then President Obama turned that over to a complete idiot fool who profited for 2 years on the economy. Then he screwed it up and he killed 1 million people. And I say he killed 1 million people because he killed 1 million people.
Yeah.
Now, then this fool leaves office again, turns it over to the old man who fixed the thing. He fixed, no matter how you look at it, the facts are the facts. Joe Biden did turn the economy around. Donald Trump didn't do it. He was out here in all these court hearings. Now, what tell me how dumb are American people, how dumb are Hispanics, how dumb are white women, definitely how dumb are these N-word Negroes for Trump. Just how stupid are you that you cannot see in front of your own eyes pure, simple facts and pure, simple economics. Republicans did not do a damn thing to help this economy. History has already shown, and I sent you to the Colonel, what Robert Reich said. Robert Reich is a genius, economic genius. He laid everything out. He's been trying to tell people this for 10 solid years. Now, if you don't want to believe a C-average student like myself, believe somebody who is a complete economic giant. And he told you this. So I cannot get it across my head, maybe because I'm a C- student, how 2 Republican administrations screwed everything up, 2 Democratic administrations fixed everything, and then you have this complete idiot running the campaign saying, Harris broke it, I'm going to fix it. Mm-hmm. Now, and what the DNC did not do, you had these oil giants and these gas giants meeting, and they even had the video of them saying how they are screwing everything up for Trump and bragging on it. They did not run those ads at all. So when you talk about the economy, checking in on the economy, we got to look at the fact that when they keep talking about the economy, who screwed the economy up? White greedy men screwed it up. The oil industry raised the prices artificially. The Arabs who paid Kushner $2 billion screwed it up. You had the food giants in America meeting in Mar-a-Lago, artificially raising the prices up on purpose. They screwed it up. And what makes it so bad is they told you. They didn't even hide the fact. So how come we can't get this through people's thick skulls, especially the people who are supposed to be so smart? This Gen X group you're talking about, they're supposed to be so smart. They don't understand it. The Hispanic people, they know they're supposed to be so smart. They don't understand it. White woman, the man that told you that he's going to do things to you whether you want it or not. And you sat there and allowed the man to do that. And now he's going to walk in the office and he's going to grab women again by the vaginas. and nobody's going to do anything about it. So check out this financing thing. But what I wanted to tell the Colonel, I sent it to James, and I want people to really think about this. I say we need to, on what you want to do, I'm giving you some solid examples of what we need to do. And number one, we need to segregate in place, separate in place. We don't have to leave to separate in place. Like the Colonel said, pay attention to your money, where it's going to spend. He said he's not going to go to Taco Bell or whatever them Hispanic places are again. I'm telling the African Americans what we need to do. I want them to put the signs back up again that says we reserve the right not to sell Negroes. I want them to do that.
Yes.
And I think we should demand, as African Americans, we should demand all these people who don't want our money, please tell me you don't want my money. I'm at this point now, I don't want to even talk to white people. My wife made me go to something yesterday with some good white people. I ain't want to go because I don't trust none of them anymore. I don't even want to be around good white people because I don't even know what they're going to say when I leave the door. I want to be around people who I can trust. And I believe, and I know as a fact, the first thing we should do as African Americans, all over America, we should demand that the states and the cities give these crackers commission again to put up the signs that they don't want our business. And I think, because look, let's just be honest now. 1 out of every 2 white persons we looking at voted for Trump. That is a fact. So that means every 2 white people you see, 1 of them voted for Trump. And we know half of every Hispanic person we see voted for Trump. Now,
and I ain't happy with the black men either, Mr. Bracy.
Yes, and the only people who was the smartest people on the planet Earth are African American women. 92%. 92% now stayed. I've always said something. The smartest women on this planet are African American women. They stood strong. They stood consistent. You have these inward black men who I keep telling them they need a South African necktie around in that. All we got to do is do 1 or 2. We do 1 or 2. The rest of them are get in line. Yes, I'm being mean, and I mean everything I say. But I'm telling you one thing. Again, economics control everything in this country.
Sure.
If we tell these crackers to put these signs up, we'll know where we can go and spend our money. And what's going to happen? James, you done had the people on your show who has proven that make lemon out of lemonade, make lemonade out of lemon, whatever that thing is. If we go back, we may need to go back, but we can find there will be people who will step in and fill the void. So toilet paper, the Koch brothers, I'd rather go to Canada and buy a year's worth of toilet paper from some company that's not the Koch brothers, and I drive up there and do it and bring it back. I may even go to Mexico, even though I don't like them either. I would go to Mexico and buy Mexican toilet paper and bring it back, get a year's supply. And so I would never have to buy toilet paper from the Koch brothers. Never.
And look,
That's what we need to do. So we need to segregate and separate in place. We need to go to our city councils and say, will you please let the white folks tell us they don't like us anymore so we'll know where we won't go for we'll be safe? And that's
Louis,
what we should do economically. We need to do that. That's the one thing we need to do.
Louis, let me get in there, and Colonel, turn it back over to you. But I guess we established one of the things as far as Black folks, because we need to double down on our financial stability. And the other thing, a lot of Black folks have government jobs, and one of the things that Trump has said he's going to do, you're familiar with Schedule F, and he tried to implement that before, but got shot down. Schedule F protects government, certain government jobs, regardless of who's in office. So he wants to do away with that. So those people that have those government jobs that guarantee them, regardless of who is in office, he wants to eliminate that. So that's going to affect a lot of Black folks, because a lot of us in the government field, and Colonel, you think, because what they're saying that we need less government, do you think we would it be to our benefit to be more privatized? I don't think so, because they cut out DEI and all that stuff, so we won't get the jobs. But those government jobs, that's one thing. How do we fight that, Colonel?
Okay, so let me go back. Lewis talked about 1 million. He killed, Trump killed 1 million people. That was because, yes, he killed those 1 million up to and over 1 million American citizens because of his inaction and incompetency of dealing with the COVID crisis. And COVID is alive and well, because you'll see right after the December holidays, COVID numbers will go back up.
Sure.
And what are we going to do when the new COVID or the new pandemic comes and we have this same fool back in office? And he already told you, and there's reporting that, yes, he held back aid, machinery, and people and medicines to blue states, because he thought that, yes, they don't vote for me, so they don't deserve to live.
Mm-hmm.
And so it goes back to communication. I think Lynnette talked about, or Lewis talked about how the oil companies were manipulating the prices, and the food companies were jacking up the prices and taking advantage of the COVID era, and once they raise the prices, they never come back down.
Mm-mm.
But Democrats don't, and Harris, one thing, was a very bad communicator. Very bad communicator. And Trump, for all his flaws, is a great communicator, because he'll never talk about specifics. He'll talk around the issues. We're going to fix it. Well, how are you going to fix it? Well, we're going to fix it. Or this and that. Or he'll have something, he'll say something crazy just to stay in the news cycle. And I think it goes back to I think it was Ice-T or Ice Cube said, all publicity is good publicity. Even bad publicity is good publicity. That's what he believes in.
Mm-hmm.
And he also believes in Mein Kampf from Hitler, because if you say a lie
long enough, that's right,
then it becomes true. And that's why you can't believe anything he says, because he continues to lie. And we beat around the bush to say, oh, this is a mistruth, or this or that, or he didn't mean to say that. We have to communicate on the news, and our politicians say, hey, this guy is just a stone cold liar. I see them moderating his, since he's won the election or stolen this last election, moderating their views to him, how they talk about it. They have to go out and say, okay, the crime family, like they call Biden's crime.
Mm-hmm.
This is a crime family. He has a long history of being a crime mob boss, saying you don't have to call him President Trump anymore or President-elect Trump. Just say the Don. and then have somebody ask you, what do you mean the Don? You this disrespectful, because he is the Don, the mafia king that's coming into the White House. It's the Don, mafia boss, and he's bringing all his billionaires to empty the treasury. You see his wife is already selling. If you want to have lunch with her, it's $2 billion lunch for her non-speaking self. Comes off, Trump got her off the pole years ago, and now she walks without all her surgeries and everything. So it's $2 million of that. Trump selling shoes. Matter of fact, when he went to France over the weekend for the opening of the Citadel, he sat beside Jill Biden with all her grace. He's now hawking his perfume. So the grift of making money is alive and well on steroids. Sure. It will tell you that the White House in America is for sale. So you put the billionaires in charge of all the departments. You got the grifter in chief who doesn't care about America at the head, and whatever they can do to make a dollar, that's what they are going to do. So it's about communication. And so the other thing about communication, and I think you mentioned DEI, and with that, affirmative action, we are scared, and I say Democrats, that every time that word comes up, why don't you just say diversity is just not for black and white? And their thing is we're anti-black, but diversity is for women.
White women.
That's right.
White women benefited from diversity, DEI programs, and affirmative action. And why, when they bring those two words up, you tell them you are a racist. Why are we scared that you call the word out? And so that's another piece. And then I think somebody talked about, let me go back and I'm rehashing it. The iPhone. These young folks don't own no white phones. iPhones, they leasing them. They making them on a payment plan. So that's part of your part for your economic literacy is we don't own nothing. These young folks don't own nothing. Everything is on a payment plan.
Nothing. Right. Yeah. That's what that generation is used to. Yeah. A payment plan. And I got to jump in there. The education piece. Take those iPhones out of these little kids' hands. They walk into walls. You'll be walking and they are mesmerized by it, and put a book in their hands. A book. Now we talk about owning. It's a simple conversation. You like iPhones? Your friend like iPhones? Well, instead of buying little Johnny a whole bunch of games and stuff, buy him a share of Apple. Give you an example. Okay, Apple is trading today at $242.35. Now, these parents are spending more than $200 on their kids' Christmas. Okay? Most of the time, they play with the stuff from the dollar store anyway. Get them a share of Apple. Apple's up 25% in 1 year. Yeah. Where are you going to get that? You can't get it in a savings account. You go to the bank, you want a savings account. But if you go to the bank with $10,000, they don't give you the rate that's in the front. They give you a different rate. Okay. But I think it's simple concepts of money and how money works, wherein I put my money in the savings account and then they're going to sell it to you, Lewis, at interest, 7%, 8%, 9% interest, right? Give me 2%. And they banking that 7%. It's a basic concept that I know these kids can learn. DraftKings, for everybody that's out here betting around Super Bowl, that stock always goes up. It's up 22% right now because everybody's betting. But we betting in DraftKings, doing the parlays and doing all of that, and betting instead of buying a share, it ain't but $22.68. Buy you 10 shares of DraftKings. You're not going to lose. You're using it every day because you're betting every day. I I don't gamble. So I just went to the casino for the first time a few months ago to go to the restaurant. I barely could get a parking space. So I was like, let me go up in here and see what's going on. It's not that we don't have it. We are consumers and we do what we want with the money. Okay, that's good. That's fine. That's why I said we're not monolithic. So you do what you want to do, Lewis, with your money. Slim, you do what you want to do. I definitely do what I want to do with mine. However, I think I can leverage my money better if I don't keep going out to eat and calling that daggone Grubhub and Uber Eats. Mm-hmm. It's tearing our Generation Z up. Mm-hmm. They are lazy, so they just get, it's an extra like 20% on your bill to get food delivered to you. And I have been at our school, I'm going to say that, and we have like 12 staff members. And I have sat at the desk and seen 3 different delivery people come and bring lunch. So I say, look, didn't you know you were getting lunch out today? Didn't you know? Wouldn't it have been cheaper if one of y'all went and bought lunch for everybody? Just think. Because you all are spending $20 a day in fast food when you make $15 an hour. It doesn't add up. Mm-mm. Put it on a yellow pad. My dad, I'm going to tell you, I'm the baby of 6, okay? I'm the baby of 6, and I'm a baby boomer, okay? My dad used a yellow ledger pad to do his budget, okay? My mom and dad. My mom kept a ledger. If you borrowed money from her, your name was in her book, okay? She knew. When my mom died, I cannot tell you how many people came to us and said, I know, I owe Miss Pearl some money. But it's like when I had my kids, even now, I use a yellow ledger. I know where every single brown penny of my money is. That's just basic stuff that you can teach a kid at 5 years old and 6 years old. You got $5. I'm gonna give you $5. You put $1 over here in this envelope. You put $2 over here in this envelope. When my husband and I first got married, we made good money, but we were consumers and we spent a lot. And we were like, hold up, we renting. It just didn't sit right with me. I was like, I'm not gonna keep paying this person's mortgage. So we started buying houses. Okay. We bought a house, we leveraged that to buy another house, because it just did not make sense to me. Money sense, financial sense. It's the simple things that we can share, but we have got to get in conversations. Like Lewis said, the Generation Z, they are a hard nut to crack because they think they know everything. Mm-hmm. But history, just doing the history with them. Okay, you like Amazon. I do. I have Amazon coming to my house three times a week. I'm going to buy me at least one share of Amazon, but $226, because not only me, but everybody else likes Amazon. That's all it is. You buy gas, Exxon. Exxon has been up 14% in the last 3 months. Just buy what you use. Instead of us being the huge consumers. That's why the Chinese people and the Korean people come in our neighborhoods and they put hair stores and nail salons in our neighborhoods. Mm. And they are making millions.
Well, you are right on a subject that is now in my lifetime 40 years old now, 40 to 50 years old. That same story. You have this guy Omar Johnson. I don't like him at all. Y'all know who Omar Johnson is, right? Now he's a con man, but he has this thing going on now about the black church and where the black church have been putting their money. The truth of the matter is, everything he said is the truth. If you go to the average black church and you ask them where they put their money at, most of them do have, I would say 90% of the black churches in America have their money in the white bank, which is what he talks about. Now, see, Omar is a slick guy, because he presents a lot of actual facts, but under the table, something else is going on. But just deal with the surface. Just deal with the surface items he's talking about, with what you just mentioned, which is where are you putting your money and what are you buying? And when you have the black church giving most of their money, 90%, to white banks, and then, as he said, $3 million a weekend, it's actually more than that. And then the next day, the banks are taking black money and giving it to these white people to put us back under the table. Now, the numbers are just what they are. And that's just the black church, what you're talking about, what they're doing. Now, you add the black church to exactly what you were saying about Amazon. About how many black women order stuff from Amazon. I live with a beautiful black woman. Amazon comes to my door almost every day. It seems like. But you know what? She's invested in Amazon.
Right.
Okay. Now, but the economics of the reality is that we are way behind the curve.
We 200 years behind the curve. We are catching up 200 years. Okay. So we ain't got time to be doing a whole bunch of lollygagging and all that. Like you said, they need a slap in their face, two chops to the throat.
We can't do it. We can't.
They can't afford another 200. They can't afford another 20. They can't afford another 4 years.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying the story you told. I was in a black church one of the first times when it was all this stuff was laid out. Actually, it was about 4 to 5 years ago. And locally, we was having an issue with the Korean businessmen. The Koreans was all in, when I was stationed up here in 1978 and 79, I went to a local church in Baltimore. And they was having a real bad issue with the Koreans because the Korean was everywhere in all the stores, all the mom and pops and everything. But they weren't sharing anything. And one of the black ministers pulled them up on it. And they were really trying to work out a solution because it was causing a lot of animosity between the black community and the Koreans. I was going to college at the University of Maryland at that time, Baltimore County. And this is a story that never left my mind. There was 2 Korean women in the Black Studies class. 2 Korean women in the Black Studies class. All right. And I was wondering, what are they doing here? Okay, I guess they want to learn. But when the subject of economics came up, one of the young Korean girls stood up and she said, "Why y'all mad at us? Y'all let us come in here and y'all buy all this stuff from us. Why not you doing it yourself?" She said it. And this is in a Black Studies class at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County. And the professor, who's a brilliant person, by the way, he laid it all out to us. And he said, "You hear what she just said? Mm-hmm. Now you multiply what she said in Baltimore and you go to New York City, you go to Chicago, you go to Detroit, you go to anywhere in Texas, and just add all that up. And remember now, this is 45 years ago when this happened. Now, since the Korean issue went, the Koreans made all their money, so they're gone. So then when they left, they gave it to the Arabs. When the Arabs came in, where you go today and you don't see an Arab in a service station?
Right.
You tell me. You
can't hardly 7-Eleven.
So then the Arabs get it. And now, just 2 weeks ago, I was in Baltimore City riding down one of the main streets there at one time. And I hadn't been in this particular part of Baltimore in a while. You know who's buying up everything now? You know who's opening up everything now? Africans. Mm-hmm. They own a whole block that was once owned by Koreans because Africans, they never had our mindset about economics. They always knew. You go to certain places, you go down to Florida and you go where the Jamaicans at. They own blocks and blocks and blocks. Now, that's why I tell people African Americans are different than all these other people. Because we have been trained to think one way. Africans and Jamaicans have always been trained to think another way. Now, here it is. You talking to Louis Bracy, one person, who have seen our community money go from Koreans to the Arabs. Now it's going to Africans. And who's not there? Who is not there?
Well,
when I came to Baltimore, we came to the Baltimore area, some black people did own certain things and certain place on Pennsylvania Avenue. If anybody been to Baltimore, you know what Pennsylvania Avenue in Baltimore meant. North Avenue in Baltimore now meant. It's not that way now. It's not that way now. They did have the businesses there.
Well, Mr.
They didn't stick together.
Mr. Bracy, I went to a couple of years ago. I went to Liberia and to Ghana. It was an eye opener. Everybody should go there somewhere. I wish I had gone when I was younger, but I told my kids to put it on their bucket list. But we stayed in 5-star resort, but right across the street, it was extreme poverty in Liberia. Now, in Ghana, you know who's buying up all the land, all that beautiful beach land. The Chinese are coming in. So they done left them over here, but they going over there where
That's
it's
right.
where riches. And the people, it's a mindset because the water represents the slave ships to them. Still, it's been brought down through generation to generation. They don't want to go anywhere near the water. And that's where the prime real estate is. You know, so again, to me, it's just education. We need some Fannie Lou hammers. You know, these little kids need to know. Well, it was a lady who said nobody is free until everybody is free.
That's right.
Their parents don't know Fannie Lou Hammer. Some of their grandparents don't know Fannie Lou Hammer. So I appreciate like Portsmouth Coffee Talk, any forum that can get information out and just start the conversation. That's all, to start the conversation. I do a lot of work with breast cancer survivors because I lost a daughter with breast cancer survivors with breast cancer at 31 years old. But when I talk to people sometimes, I talk to them about being their own advocate. We are not our own advocate. Like the Colonel was saying, open your mouth and say, what's wrong with saying, you know, he a racist. He a racist. Do be your own advocate. Why do you go to a doctor and you sit there and you don't advocate for yourself?
That's right.
Okay. And that's why we have these large health disparities. I know 2 or 3 people right now that are not in treatment because they did not open their mouths. There are all kinds of resources out here that will help people with treatment. Why would you go without chemo treatment if you have cancer? Okay. And I tell them the story of Fannie Lou Hammer and Henrietta Lacks. In 1961, she went in just to have a tumor removed in 1961. And at 44, they gave her a hysterectomy in Mississippi, the compulsory sterilization plan. You better know what is happening when you go to your doctor and have someone with you, an advocate. Our foundation, we go with people. We sit there when the doctor is giving them information about their diagnosis. Because when you hear the word cancer, it's like you just block out everything. So you need a scribe there. You need the doctor's office have mediators and they have nurse navigators, but you got to ask for it. Yeah. You have to ask for it. They don't give it to us. Okay. But you need somebody there sitting. If you can't, turn a recorder on and record what they are saying. It's resources out here. But we have got to open our mouths and start the conversation with that Generation Z. That's 4-year-old to 23-year-olds. That's it. Slim, you see how fast your granddaughter is growing? Yeah. And how she's picking up. I see her on Facebook. Them jokers are smart. Those kids
you can't start too early with them.
School, they can take my phone and they can put timers, alerts, and everything on my phone. My phone. So I said, okay, you can do that. Well, why is your shoestring untied? Sit down and learn how to tie your shoestring, your shoes. They don't know
write your name.
And write your name. Don't talk smart to me. It's a different teachers out here now, but I volunteer at our school. So you're not going to talk smart to Miss Lynnette, to grandma, and you can't even spell your name, Johnny. So you sit there and you write it about 100 times until you learn how to spell your name. And don't ever be smart to grandma again. Anybody's grandma. And
then slap them.
Hey, I'm so glad.
I can't do it. I'm gonna kiss the boys. They're my kings. When I see them,
bring me down and close the door. I'll slap them for you.
I take their heads and I just rub their heads and I kiss them, because you don't know what they came from in the morning. I don't like hollering at kids. I don't like raising my voice. I don't like it. I think you can talk to them in their face and make them feel like kings and queens. And that's my joy every morning when I go there. You know, you're a king. You know why you're a king? You know, you're a queen. You know why? You put your
they don't know why.
Up.
They don't know why.
I'm gonna teach them why. I'm gonna teach them if they come to me. That's how I taught my kids, and that's how my kids. I have 9 grandkids. 6 of them right now are in college. Six are in college. I have to be intentional, okay, because they are learning all kinds of crazy mess, all kinds, around people and shootings and all that. I send them an inspirational message every single solitary Monday, something encouraging to them. I don't know if they reading it or not. I'm planting the seed. That's not my job. I'm planting the seed. And my husband sends them all of them. It's like a bill to us, $100 at the end of every month. I know your money probably run out, but this is from Granddaddy. Okay. And I appreciate you, going to school and getting your education and doing the things that you're doing. And this is just a love token from me. We got to do it. We have got to. Who else gonna do it? Who else gonna do it?
I'm so glad that the emphasis has been on finances. All of you have come up there. Even the subject I brought up about losing government jobs. If you, Bracy, you said going back 40 years, the Colonel has been talking about financial wealth and families and creating that for years. And, investing and things like that. And you always wonder why certain races could retire at 50 because of what they were doing, creating that financial wealth. So when it comes down to situations where the guy coming in and say, I'm going to fire everybody, it's not going to be a hardship on you because you have set yourself up financially for whatever happens, and maybe creating your own job or creating your own situation. So it's so important. So we're going to talk more about this. And one of the things, Colonel, before you make your last statements or whatever statements you want to make, what we want to do here on Coffee Talk, starting in the beginning of the year, bringing on people once a month to talk civics, once a month to talk about our history. Not wait until February to just talk the whole month about history, but every month throughout the year, we're going to be talking about history, and hope that we keep that education part of it going. But the civic part, that needs to be taught because it's not in the schools like it should be. And it's not just for the young people, it's for people our age too, because clearly they didn't understand what was going on when some of them made the votes that they made. So locally, you got to know your civics because it's going to be important locally, what we do here locally. Now that they got the national thing, they think sewed up. But, we should be just as slick as they are, working in the backgrounds and making sure that we are not defeated completely. But it starts locally. So,
James, let me tell you about the thing that you mentioned about the government jobs. The thing about that is a good thing and a bad thing. Like I said, I'm fortunate that I did the right things by investing and stuff like that and putting my money away and retiring, at the age, that you retire at. The problem with Malcolm X, I think it said, the worst thing a black man could do is get a good government job. And the reason why he said that, because you get comfortable.
Yeah, get lazy.
And we have a lot, and because I've tried to get a lot of field grade officers to come with me on these protests, because I was saying I was just an enlisted man, but I said if we can get 100 field grade officers in front of the White House and Trump was there, that would cause news. That would make people come to the White House to figure out why 100 officers in uniform in front of the White House. I never could get anybody to do that. But I want you to understand that image, right? That could have created. But the problem is they're too comfortable. You see, now you don't retire, you getting your check, and they can't take that check from unless the country falls. They can't do nothing to you. But our people got too comfortable in their couches and stuff. Now, I didn't have to be out there. I could be anywhere I want to be on this planet. But I was in front of the White House. I had 59 protesters, solo protests in front of the White House against Donald Trump. Now, I kept telling people, you people are too comfortable. Now, the same people who are now on, and the Colonel know what I'm talking about, when black folks and white folks leave government and they go to get that contractor job. You know what I'm talking about, Colonel? Mm-hmm. They get that second income. Mm-hmm. So let's say you retired and you were getting 80 to 100,000 a year. Then you get that comfortable contractor job for an equal amount of money. You're not gonna be out here raising no hell because you're comfortable. And that's the problem with our people on a certain level. The middle class black folks have gotten comfortable and they don't want to risk what they have. And what I say to them, the same thing I say to ministers. If you have it, you earn it, they can't take it away from you. Why are you too scared to speak up? They're scared to speak up. Now, one thing I want to get, because I see the topic picking, speaking about that. But just keep that in mind. You just talk to your comfortable people, even in education, ask them why they're not out here raising hell. But Colonel, one of the things I sent you in the mail was about the election, about those numbers, they don't add up. Now, this is the thing I always say to this group from the very beginning: Democrats are weak; they have no guts. Now, why is it that, and any one of you can check it, there's 5 states now, 4 of them are swing states. It's on a 1% difference in the vote. Now, why aren't Democrats out here demanding a hard count with 1%? Some of these states, he won by less than 300,000 votes. Now, you look at the fact of what we saw on 60 Minutes last night. I sent y'all a note about 60 Minutes. When you have the crypto billionaires are also connected with the millionaires that was in the cyber world. So you got crypto money and you got cyber money. So don't tell me in the United States of America, where money talks and you know what walks, don't tell me that they could not have corrupted this system. I mean, like I say, I was on a C- student in high school, but I'm smart enough to put 2 and 2 together. Now, I like to ask this group, why aren't Democrats demanding a hard count when you got 5, it's more than 5 states. I want to mention the ones that's important. 4 swing states. Harris in some of them states is well under 1 million votes. And if this thing was corrupted, as I know it is, I have no doubt in my mind that this election was corrupted. Why won't Democrats demand a hard count in at least 5 swing states? Colonel, please give me your answer.
That'd be a whole show, but I could probably summarize it because Democrats are weak.
Thank you.
Yes. And we try to play fair or perceive fair. And that's why we will always turn the other cheek and get in the other cheek. And so we will continue to lose until we change the mindset, and that's why we're always scared. Like I said before, scared to tell the truth. But I'm going to summarize everything here because we're getting late in the hour. We always talk about freedom. And I guess the first freedom is the mental freedom. And with that is we have a slavery mentality for a lot of people.
Yes.
And we've never broken those chains of the mental slavery aspect of freedom. The other thing that we're talking about here today is economic freedom. With economic freedom, we talked about having those cell phones that you don't own because you lease them because you don't own nothing. Lynnette talked about the housing, buying houses and stuff like that. We don't own anything. We always get a better apartment, but we don't buy that house because Lynnette, as you say, and I did the same thing, is owning houses puts another income stream later on, especially after you've paid for them. And so goes back to understanding debt. And because we as a people are always under debt. So during the next 4 years or as fast as you can, pay down your debt. Put everything in a spreadsheet and then pay down and then get yourself debt free. Because if you don't have debt, you have economic power.
Yes.
And then so with that, then you can understand about saving money. Going past the passbook saving and understanding investing. And investing is two ways to do. One is through your retirement investing, and that's through your thrift savings plan, your 401k plans, or anything like that that's shielded for retirement. Putting those in vehicles, like I said, the TSP, 401k plans, or whatever, for the future. And to put it into the market, meaning stock market, not in government bonds where it's going to have a 2% yield or whatever. You want to put it into a mutual fund that historically at bad years, it gives you 8%. But over the last 4 years through Biden got in there, you've gotten 20%. And then so I think Lynnette was talking about buying individual stocks. I started almost 50 years ago buying into mutual fund, no load funds, just buying and doing what they call cost averaging. Every time I got a check every 2 years, 2 months, 2 weeks, I put something in and bought those shares instead of fund. And then I used to track it. My portfolio used to track it every week. And then I got to tracking after my portfolio got up there a little bit, track it once a month. And now I only do it once a month just to see how that paper flow is. And when I say paper money, I just did mine over the weekend since at first of the month. And I see paper money that I got an extra $100,000 plus every month that I didn't have before. And with no debt. So it gives me that economic freedom. If I want to go buy a new car or whatever, or whatever I want to do, go on, go to Mexico or go overseas or whatever I want to do, the money is always there. And I'm using somebody else's money because I've done the right things over time. And then so we just learn about educating, dollar cost averaging, and those kind of things. That's for another show. So those are two big issues that we need to look at to get our lives together in the next 4 years and to stay engaged.
Yeah, well, thank you, Colonel. And you almost made it without visually freezing. You're going to have to move back to Portsmouth so you can get that good connection. You're out there in Suffolk, But anyway, I wanted to say one last thing, and one thing we should be watching out for, and our HBCUs. Now, a lot of white people go to our HBCUs on minority scholarships. I wonder if they're going to be affected by the ending of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I'm going to keep an eye on that and see if they are going to be affected in reverse, like they're saying reverse discrimination, because you see a lot of them on the football teams now in the HBCUs, and people don't realize they're there because they're there on minority contracts.
That's right.
I mean, not minority contract, but minority scholarships.
That's right.
And no one ever talks about that. But keep your eye on that and see if they get affected by that, like we might get affected wanting to go to Harvard or something like that, even though we qualify to get in there. Okay, thanks everybody. And please like, subscribe, comment, and share this information. And we will come back and talk more about this, because this is something, the conversation needs to be continued and the education needs to continue. And what we need to do, we need to keep our heads above the sky and make sure that we're prepared for whatever comes our way. So I want to thank all of our guests. Thank you, Colonel, for moderating the show, every Monday morning show like you do. And I'm glad you froze, but I'm glad your voice was still there, because that was more important than anything. So thanks, everybody. Any last words from you, Lynnette?
I just wanted to say thank you again for the invitation. And I'm dating myself, but I have survived Eisenhower, Kennedy, Johnson, Nixon, Ford, Carter, Reagan, George H., Clinton, George W., Obama, Trump, Biden, and I think I'm ready for Trump again. I'm survived all of them. We have survived all of them. So
Yeah, you're in good company up here. All of us were at Norcom at the same time.
Yeah.
Most of us.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, everybody. We appreciate you.
All right.
Appreciate you.
We'll see you next.